Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight for the virtual California College Exploration Fair. Just a few housekeeping items. Your camera and microphone are off, but you will still be able to ask questions through the Q&A, and you can just type your questions and the presenters will respond to them as they get to them. Make sure there's still some additional sessions tonight and coming up later this week. So go check out the website and it's listed there on the screen. And a recording will be available on the website after the fair concludes. So I'm gonna hand it over to our presenter and hopefully you'll have a nice evening. Thanks.
Okay, hi, good evening, everyone. Or I guess since it's currently the daytime in Australia, I should be saying good day to you. So I'm Todd St. Vrain, the University of Melbourne's North America Manager. Thanks so much for joining us and your interest in Melbourne. So I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, but I actually went to grad school in Australia and lived there for 15 years. So I'm really happy to share my perspective knowing both countries, but you're probably wondering where is the accent. Anyway, we're going to get started. If you do have questions, please put them into the Q&A. Once I start sharing my screen, I'm not going to be able to see the questions until I come back off to the slides, but we should have plenty of time, to go over something that I covered, or if there's something else that I haven't covered. So let's go ahead and get started here, and we would like to welcome you to the University of Melbourne. Okay, here we are. So again, University of Melbourne, and I'm Todd St. Vrain. So welcome to UniMelb, or as we say in the local Indigenous language, Wominjeka. So University of Melbourne is a large public research-intensive university. We do rank as one of the leading universities in the world and quite large, and we date back to 1853, but we are constantly evolving. And I think what characterizes Melbourne is that we attract great minds who really want to make an impact in the world. So we hope that is you. So why would you come all the way to Australia to do your degree? This is our campus, which is in the heart of Melbourne, about 15 minutes from downtown. We are ranked 26th in the world, so we are kind of considered an Ivy League down under. And a lot of our partner universities in the States are some of the institutions like UCLA, Harvard, Vanderbilt, and many disciplines also rank in the top 40, which I think really getting access to people at the forefront of their thinking and can help shape your future. I think coming to Australia means a chance to be a global citizen. Australia is a multicultural country. It's truly where East meets West. And we're a very large university. We have 25,000 undergraduate students, and almost half of our student body is international. So you're not alone, and you're really going to get that perspective, make great friends, and it makes for great eating too. So you also, all students in, international students in Australia have the ability to stay for 2 years after graduation and work. And we rank 7th in the world for graduate employability. So in terms of where you start your career, you're going to have options. We'd like to say that coming to Melbourne means affordable access to excellence. All of our degrees are just 3 years. They are considered the equivalent of a 4-year degree if you're trying to go to grad school or get a job. And with a strong US dollar, your annual tuition is going to be about under 30,000 US dollars. And our admissions is going to be based only on academic achievement, and we'll get into the details in just a bit. So there are no essays, no personal statements, references, extracurriculars. So it does create clarity and transparency if you will have admissions. And you're doing all of this in Melbourne, a city of about 4 million friendly people, voted 7 times the most livable city in the world. So a bit on our academics. So we have streamlined our degrees into just 8 degrees, but within that there's about 150 majors. And I think one of the good things about coming to such a large university is that you have so many options to choose from. So we call degrees courses. So if you find find a course portal, you can explore your interests, which may be in more than one major or more than one degree. And each degree is going to give you quite detailed information about the major, the entry requirements, the tuition, and so forth. So it's not too common to do a Bachelor of Agriculture, but if you're interested in business, there's agricultural economics. We call liberal arts arts, and I've highlighted some of the more popular majors here, like criminology, media, politics, and international relations. You can do majors and minors, all lots of combinations. We are very strong in biomedicine. We do have a medical degree at the graduate level, and we're right next to the Melbourne Biomedical Precinct, which is a hub of 40 research centers and teaching hospitals. And currently, they're doing things like bioengineering heat-resistant coral to save the Great Barrier Reef. And we were the first outside of China to map the coronavirus. So our immunologists, these are the people that would be teaching you. Commerce, that's what we call business in Australia, and lots of options within that. We also have design and also a separate campus downtown for fine arts and music, and quite an extensive range of science, whether it be engineering and IT, the life sciences. Yes, we do have marine biology, which is really popular for coming to Australia, and we are on the coast. So in terms of your entry requirements, this is going to vary on requirements for each degree, and it is only going to be the SAT or ACT. We are currently not test optional. It is under review. However, because of our different academic year, you actually wouldn't have to submit an SAT or ACT until the end of your senior year. There's going to be an unweighted GPA, and we also do require AP exams to meet prerequisites. If you don't have AP exams, you would need to submit a university level subject in order to meet those prerequisites. We're also unique in that doing high school in the USA does not meet our English proficiency, and that is met by either doing either of the AP English exams with a score of 3 or better, or a test like TOEFL or IELTS, or if you're doing a dual credit university level subject, which you would get for submission for review. We also accept the IB, and so we do have guaranteed entry based on these minimum IB scores, and these are also the background thing. So the good news is that if you're doing IB and doing IB English, this meets our English proficiency. So if you're doing IB, you don't need to do SAT or AP, it would just be the IB, so it's one or the other. So we have to agree that you're going to have some lectures which are very large, but one thing of the aspect in Australia is that every lecture is going to be accompanied by a tutorial, which is a small group discussion or a lab. The grading is very rigorous, and also you're not going to have a lot of pop quizzes. Your tutorials might be 10%, but other than that, of your grades, but other than that, it's going to be heavily weighted to a few exams and a few papers. So we really encourage people that are independent and resourceful. Obviously, coming to Australia, it's a bit of adventure, being adaptable and flexible, and doing things a bit different. Of course, uni, as we say, is not just about academic life. So there's, like every university, a quite range of extensive of clubs and societies, which is really an important part of your experience. Melbourne is a city of sport, and the university has sport at the intervarsity to the intramural level. This is just a sample of some of the class of different clubs that we have. So again, this is just comparing our tuition and living costs in comparison to what you would be paying here in California for other public and private universities. So we are comparable, perhaps even less affordable, and certainly more affordable than some of our top-ranked universities here in the United States. So we don't do financial aid the way that you do at US universities, but if you are a high-achieving student with very high IB or SAT or ACT scores, and those are listed here, you would automatically be qualified for an international student scholarship, which could be anywhere from 10,000 Australian dollars to a full tuition remission. You can use your student and parent loans, your FAFSA, and there are some elite athlete scholarships as well. So important consideration is that everything's upside down, just like this map. So it's different down under, our seasons are different, and so is our semester. Our semester 1 starts in March, and our semester 2 starts in late July. It doesn't actually really matter if you start in either semester, because a lot of the core classes would be repeated and everything like that. So it's more of a matter of, do you want to start at the end of summer or kind of our winter, which is like in the 40s and 50s. So our admission dates, if you're an international student, are very different. My advice to you is just apply at the same time that you're applying for US universities. And you could actually get something, a conditional offer, meaning, oh, we're still waiting for your final grades or an AP or an ACT score. But again, you would have really until the end of your senior year to actually apply. And so then you could either start straight away in like the July or August after graduation, or you could have a bit of a gap year and start in March of the year after your high school graduation. And it's quite automatic to get a deferral in Australia. If there's any Australian citizens chiming in, it is a bit different for you in terms of when and how you apply. And that information is there. I'd be happy to talk to you more about that. If anyone's a freshman, sophomore, junior, we do have a program in July, the Young Leaders Program for high school students. You come for a week or two, and each week you pick a topic to explore, to know what it's like to study or to have a career in that. You're living on campus, you're making friends from around the world, and we do have scholarships. So that will be, hopefully we'll be able to resume that again this coming year. We had to cancel it this last year because of the pandemic. And regarding the pandemic, Australia is making great strides. Currently, the number of national infections is only a couple of dozens, and the borders are currently closed, but we're hoping that they will be reopened by early 2021. So just to here, we're going to give you a brief campus tour. So Australia is about the size of the United States, and we're located in the southern part of the country. So sometimes we do have 4 seasons in a day. But yeah, again, our winters are more like 40s and 50s, and yeah, very nice. So again, we're located right in the heart of Melbourne, near what we call the downtown, the central business district. And it's a mixture of beautiful sandstone, historic buildings dating back to the 1850s, but also some very modern facilities as well. So this just gives you an idea, some of our students working in the labs, orientation, having lots of fun campus activities. And our tour of campus, we should also stop at the underground car park, which is famous for being in the Mad Max, first Mad Max movie, and other things like Master Chef and high fashion shows. And so this is the city of Melbourne, and this is downtown, and Melbourne is a great city. It's famous for its street art. This is very Melbourne, with little laneways, with funky cafes and bars, live music scene. We're regarded as Australia's sports capital. This is Aussie rules football, which is a kind of a mixture of soccer and rugby, nonstop action. Of course, our beach communities are about 40 minutes away by public transport. And this is like the Great Ocean Road, which is stunning nature, about a day trip from Melbourne. So if you want to explore more, we'll send you all the links for this. We've recently had some open days where we have on-demand sessions about specific degrees and majors, accommodation. And I'm Todd St. Vrain. These are my contact details. And so I'll be getting in touch with you as well. So we're going to stop sharing now. So that's just a brief overview. So I'm now going to go into the majors. So the questions that we have. So the one question was, do you have an entomology major? And the answer to that is, I don't believe so. So let me just quickly go back to the slides here. And so within the biomedicine program, I'll just bring up that slide again. So this is everything that we have that is in, and all of these majors are also in the Bachelor of Science as well. So this is what we offer that would be health related. Okay, so the next question is Elizabeth is asking is if your IB class does not fall under the classes that we're supposed to order to take to get a certain course of field, will that affect what you enter? Let me bring up the screen again here, and I'll just go back to the IB requirements page here. So this is the IB entry requirements that we have. So yes, all of our degrees do require the English, and then you do have to have either mathematics or chemistry and mathematics. So you would require to have that, and the website does have much more detail about which mathematics subject you would have. If you don't have those prerequisites, yes, then you would have to submit something like an AP exam or a university level subject in order to meet that. Most Australian universities have a little bit more broad and not so defined in what they offer. So this is something that is quite unique to the University of Melbourne, okay? All right, so if I'm in the class, and so Tennyson is, if I'm in the class of 2020, would I apply this December, or was it supposed to be last December? Okay, so if you're graduation in next year, the earliest that you could start with us is in our semester 2, starting in July, late August of next year. So what I would recommend is you can actually start your application as an international student, probably next semester in your final semester, and that we'd get the application started. My advice would be to apply for the semester 2 mid-year intake because that prioritizes your application. Then, if you do get an offer to the university and you decide, okay, it's a bit kind of rushed, I don't want to, graduate in June and then get over to Australia in July to start my classes, you could then apply for the deferral to start and then have like a mini gap year, and then you would be starting in March of 2022. So that would be the options for you as an international student. Again, it's different for any Australian citizens. How and when they apply is different, and probably best just to email me, or if you're an Australian citizen, post your question here now if you happen to be live here. Okay. All right. So those were the 3 questions that we've had. So I hope that we have covered everything for you. So we have lots of time for more questions if you'd like to pose some questions. I will ask, I'll put out a few questions of some other frequently asked questions that I get. So again, what happens if you don't have the AP exams that are required? Well, if you don't, AP Calculus is required for several of our degrees in commerce, science, biomedicine. We do have an online course in calculus for high school students to meet that requirement. However, any other AP prerequisites, if you don't have the exams, and a score of 3 or better, you would have to submit a university level subject. Quite common, this is very common for like the AP English exam as an alternative. Students also ask about accommodation. So I just want to share a little bit about that. So you have several options. First of all, we do guarantee accommodation for international and all students. So on-campus housing is called colleges, just to confuse you. So these are like residence halls, and they have a meal plan, and they also have their own academic tutors, their own clubs, their own sports teams, in addition to everything that the university has. So it's a wonderful community. We also have student apartments that are either owned by the university, or it might be a third party, places like Urban Nest or Uni Lodge, and that could be students, but it's not just Melbourne students, they're from a variety of universities. The interesting thing in Australia is that all rooms are single rooms. So whether it's a college or student apartment, you might have the bathroom down the hall, or if it's an apartment, just among 3 or 4 friends, but you get your own room. So that's a nice thing. I would also say that the cost of living is another question. It takes about 15 to 20,000 US dollars. The US dollar is very strong. Everything in Australian dollars, it's always less than US dollars. And you can work part-time as an international student, and the current minimum wage in Australia is about $20 an hour, but we have some student ambassadors working for us. They're making 33 Australian dollars an hour. So, you know, you can support yourself. Of course, we're facing some current challenges with the recession going on, but you can work part-time as well on campus, okay? So the other thing to let you know about is one of our upcoming events, and that's UniMelb Ask an Undergrad. It's going to be on the evening of October 28th, and it's a panel of current UniMelb students, both international and domestic students, and some of the international students are students who did high school here in the United States. So I'll be hosting it, and so it's another chance to hear more from students, a little bit about like what it was applying, what our classes like, the social experience of living in Melbourne. So I'll be sending around the link for that to anyone who has been a participant, or if you go to our website to the study section, and there's a section on Connect with Us, and that lists our upcoming events. So that's another way that that we hope that you can be a part of the University of Melbourne. And I guess the other thing just to say is, if you want to sound like a native, in Australia, you know, the R is silent in many words, so it's not Melbourne, it's Melbourne. And if you want to go up to the Great Barrier Reef, which is about a 4-hour flight, you would be flying into Cairns. It looks like it's spelled Cairns, but it's Cairns. So, you know, the R, you kind of drop the R in Australia, okay? Well, we are going to be wrapping it up very soon. I don't see any other questions coming in. Last chance, I'll shout out to call. I will address one other topic, is about the recognition of a 3-year undergraduate degree from Australia for coming back to the United States for graduate school or for getting a job. In terms of getting a job, it's not an issue. Employers really want to know about your skills, and I think you're developing really strong skills by coming to, you know, going overseas into a prestigious university. In terms of graduate school, most do. I would advise, if you're thinking about medicine, to check about, you know, do they accept foreign degrees? Law schools here in the United States, some do accept a 3-year degree, some don't. We are working to make sure that all law schools, that there is a national standard for that. But in terms of admissions to law school, in terms of having international experience, I think that would also be valued. Okay. So I think I thank you very much for this. And finally, I'm just going to teach you a little bit of Aussie slang. So we like to keep everything short and sweet in Australia. So I hope that you have enjoyed this presentation, and that you consider UniMelb as one of the places that you're going to go for uni. If you don't decide to go abroad and do an entire degree abroad, we hope that you can come join us for a semester of exchange, which is another great way. And while you're in Australia, you might learn the joys of eating Vegemite or putting smashed avo on your toast for brekkie. So what I'm saying here is that, yes, Vegemite, it's kind of like a soy sauce paste. It's an acquired taste. Smashed avo is avocado, and if you're having it for brekkie, that's breakfast. You know, so everything's short and sweet and everything like that. So I'm going to be signing off here. I'd really like to thank you for your participation tonight, or as we'd say in Australia, ha.
So we have just one final screen I need to share as we depart here. So we want to just thank you, of course, for joining us this evening. There will be a quick survey as soon as you close the window with just 4 questions. And then again, a reminder to sign up for more sessions and that the recording will be available at the website. So thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye.